Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And yeah, once again, I'm obliged to comment on the freakazoid happenings here, which again are predicted, very well predicted. We have anybody who has had two cells to rub together in their brain, so to speak, would predict whatever is going on. The fact that I kept on and on saying that, please understand that this government was literally already endorsed by Israel and the US. Because if you're endorsed by the US, you're automatically endorsed by Israel. If you are working for the US, then you're working for Israel. And I kept on and on telling you, look at the Zionist hand behind every single murderous incident that occurred in Pakistan, which now Maryam Nawaz, out of her fear, all of a sudden in England, is now trying to, um, you know, declare herself innocent, and that she's saying that, oh, I had nothing to do with anything whatsoever. Yeah, I remember, and I'm sure everybody does, because after all, you did a lot of press conferences, and that time you were very bold in the way you tried to actually say that your orders and your participation was definitely in it, and that you would forgive nobody who would come out against you. I mean, you literally said these words when you cursed Imran Khan, when you cursed the opposition, when you threatened Pakistan, when you threatened the judges, when you threatened the parliamentarians. Come on, you have done that on the record, like in front of the whole freaking world. So, I mean, how can you renege from it? I don't know. But again, as I said, this too was predicted. Remember, again, if you look at some of my older podcasts, when I was constantly screaming blue murder in the past 2 years about this whole caboodle, and I said that, when the time will come, you will know that they have finished their mission when they will suddenly start leaving the country. When you will see that they have taken all their money, which they already have moved all their money anyway, but the last bit of money that they're going to loot from us, that they're going to plunder from us, they're going to take that, wrap everything up, and they're going to leave, never to come back. And that's when you know that the mission is accomplished. And they're in their final stages of the mission, by the way. So you are seeing movement, right? You have seen Nawaz Sharif go, then now you have seen Maryam Nawaz suddenly take a flight, and these are, so you need to understand that this sudden movement to and forth between England and Pakistan is them wrapping things up. And again, like as I said, like suddenly she decided to declare that, oh, I declare I'm under oath and I vow to God and I swear to God that I have never taken or even thought of taking revenge from anybody, neither I nor my father. Like, hello, you literally on the record in multiple press conferences said that you were going to take revenge, that you were not going to leave Imran Khan alone, that you were not going to leave anybody alone, that you were not going to leave this whole country alone, that you would not allow anybody to come and, make you pay your dues, in other words. So, yeah, I find that very laughable. I mean, as I said, this is again something I've kept on and on saying, that if you look at Nepal, you look at Bangladesh, you look at the other countries, and then you look at Pakistan, and in Pakistan, again, there is no synchronized nationwide movement. That's the problem. We had so many golden opportunities that we missed, and I would say that we deliberately missed it, because that just shows how selfish, how self-absorbed, how narcissistic, how stupid, how lazy-assed our people are, especially in Punjab and Sindh, that we did not move. We did not move to join movements and make them bigger. No, we did not. And there's no fear. I mean, I'm sorry, but I disagreed even before, and I'll disagree 1,000 times. Whenever Mohit Pirzada or Dr. Shabazz Gill, whenever either of them or other even analysts, whenever they said, oh, it's because there's this fear. There is no fear. No, there is no fear, because let me tell you, and history has proved it, and so has Nepal, so has Bangladesh, so has France. Every single country has proved it, that when you get larger in numbers, when you get provoked, when violence hits, and then you in return push back in larger numbers, then your enemies fall. They did it in France. They did it in okay. Forget France, forget Nepal, forget Bangladesh. Just look at your own country. They did it in Balochistan. They did it in Kashmir. They did it in Gilgit Baltistan. Now look at the population of Azad Kashmir. Look at the population of Gilgit Baltistan. Look at the population of the whole northern region on one end, and then look at the population of Punjab and Sindh, basically Karachi and Punjab alone. Punjab and Karachi alone make up the highest number, or the largest amount, or the largest percentage of your population, and you're freaking dead. You're freaking zombied out, and you're talking to me about, we're not enough in numbers. Seriously, look at Kashmir, look at Gilgit Baltistan, look at Balochistan, look at KPK, look at all their numbers, and then look at your numbers, and then see how they pushed back, and very successfully too, I might add, very successfully. And look at you. Yeah, no, no, no. This is why I say that as a nation, you are totally beghairat, okay? And I'm sorry, but Punjabis, and I am a Punjabi, so I can say it all I like. It's my right to diss my own home. But Punjabis are the most beghairat nation I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, so much for you people talking about your ghairat and your this and your that. I'm sorry, but Sindh and Punjab, you are the worst, the most shameless lot ever that I've seen. The most, like as my mom says, sattu pee ke baithe ne. That is you people. Okay, I would say sattu pee ke mare ne. Okay, you're freaking dead. You're a dead nation. I'm sorry, but it's a fact, and I'm not sorry. So here we are. Again, why? Because now, okay, let's look at Bangladesh. Bangladesh has already sentenced Hasina Wajid to death. They are now demanding that India turns her over to them so that they execute her. But in Pakistan, you're too busy kowtowing. You've got these weird a-holes on social media, those minions, those so-called journalists, those so-called senior analysts. As again, if you've listened to some of my older podcasts, you will know that I absolutely find it so ridiculous how the amount of Nawabs that we have in this country. Yeah, you don't have I mean, they're not the number of states in India are not as many as the number of Nawabs you get in Karachi alone. Yeah. And then another thing that you will find is the number of PhD holders in Pakistan. Seriously. With the number of PhD holders that you have in Pakistan, I marvel at the pseudo intellectualism that exists here. Okay. Yeah, seriously. I mean, and it really makes me wonder how many of these people have actually earned their PhDs, as in legit earned their PhDs, okay? And that is why, you know what? And just because of that, I absolutely detest PhD. And I ended up having 2 to 3 masters instead of going ahead for a PhD. That is so much revulsion that I've got for PhD. Because when everywhere I look in Pakistan, somebody's a PhD. And you know what? They know jack shit. Absolutely useless, redonkulous people, PhDs. Like, seriously. It's like you're literally gifting PhDs to people for free. I don't know what it is. So, and the amount of senior analysts that we have in Pakistan, I swear. I don't see I don't see any other kind of analysts or journalists in Pakistan. Every single person you see is referred to as a senior analyst. And again, they know jack shit. Listen, I am never going to say that I'm proficient in politics. You know what I'm proficient in? People. This is also something I've consistently mentioned in my podcasts. When you know people, then you know a society. When you know a society, then you know a country. When you know a country, then you know a continent. When you know a continent, then you know the world. Okay? Once you understand a society, you understand how people think, you understand how that nation works. Nations are living entities. They're not things or objects. Nations are made up of people. When you understand people, you understand politics the most, because politicians are the basest of human beings. Okay? So whatever it is that lies at the most basest form of emotions of a human being is what you will see in politicians. And then also remember that I am a writer and a producer. So I'm a screenwriter and I'm a novelist and I'm a producer. Now, what does that mean? That means I know how to create worlds. When you create worlds, then you can see through other worlds that people are creating. Then you see the actors that act. And obviously, because you know that this is an acting going on, you know that this is a stage that is being set, you can predict the outcome. You can predict the script. You can, why? Because, yeah, I have not just been a script writer, I've also been what people refer to as a dramaturg. A dramaturg is a person who works with other scriptwriters to further refine their scripts, their plots. So, in other words, it's like a script advisor. Let's put it in layman terms, okay? So, I've also been that. So, again, tell me what is so difficult to understand about politics or politicians? Nothing if you know people. And how's the best way to know people? Know yourself. When you start analyzing and self reflecting on yourself, and when it becomes a part of your life and it becomes a part of your daily routine, that it becomes a habit, it becomes you, that you're always constantly thinking about what you've said, what you've done, how you felt, where you went wrong, what you did right, how you could have fixed that, where, and then you also remember to stick to your principles and to remember also in black and white what is right and what is wrong. Remember to see that fine line between the two. When you get to know yourself, you get to know your enemy, you get to know your friends, you get to know the people. Again, you know people, you know politics. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, I am pretty peed off. I've been pretty peed off for a long time. But again, as I said, the reason I haven't been saying much is because I will just end up repeating myself over and over and over again. The problem is people do not change. People say that they change, but they don't. And you know that for a fact because you see that even though you think you've changed, when you grow old, all that you changed gets unchanged. As I like to say, is that when we grow old, then all the real aspects and habits and personality traits, the characteristics that are us, that we thought we had removed and changed, and we, thought we were successful in maintaining throughout our youth and middle age, when we reach old age, it all comes back because we now lack the control. Yeah. We lack the control to subdue those characteristics, to subdue those personality traits, to subdue those habits. So when you grow old, basically, all your khaslatein come back. Okay, all your bad habits come back, all your traits, everything that you were taught as a child to try to remove from yourself and that you worked even as an adult to remove from yourself. Yeah, it all comes back, and it comes back with full vengeance, I might add. And that is why you see that old people are extremely stubborn. And that is why also we say there is no fool like an old fool. Yeah, because again, everything comes back. All the changes get unchanged. Okay, so that is why we say people do not change. And that is also why there is a French saying, the more it changes, the more it's the same. Plus ça change, plus c'est la même. Yeah, the more it changes, the more it's the same. Change is constant. And so, change is not change. If you get to understand that, then you get to understand everything. And that is why you will also understand that history, why history repeats itself over and over again. Why? Because people do not change. People do not learn from their mistakes. People refuse to realize or to admit or to acknowledge that they are part of the universality and that they're not the exception to the rule. We all think we're exceptions to the rule. That's the problem again. We all think, oh no, this should be there, but not for us. You see, in our case, it's different. Yeah, you know what? That person that went ahead and committed a crime, he also thought that it did not apply to him because he was the exception to the rule, because his case was different. His case was unique. And so he was justified. So we need to constantly remind ourselves that we are not always exceptions to the rule. And this is the biggest mistake that we keep on repeating, and we refuse. We actually deliberately refuse to learn from this mistake, which is why history repeats. And this is why 70 years, 70 plus years of Pakistan being constantly exploited and manipulated by Britain, in turn again delegated to America, so by America, and then you know it. That's the problem. My biggest problem with the people of Pakistan is you know it. You know what's going on. It's not that Imran Khan actually brought political consciousness to you or political awareness. No, no, no. The awareness was always there. It's just that he jerked you awake and he made you realize that you cannot sleepwalk through it. That's basically what. And yes, in maybe considering the new generation, yes, he awoke political awareness maybe in the new generation, but our generation was already pretty awake and pretty conscious and pretty pissed off. Okay, we were already there. We were already aware. But yes, if again if you talk about maybe the 80% of our population which is so busy being nonchalant, he rudely woke them up, yes, to reality. Yes, that you can, maybe in that way you can say, yes, he brought political awareness, so that he forced people to realize that personal is political. It's a very apt expression, I swear. I've always wondered how to express this until I watched this Japanese drama where the a person from the Ministry of Education, when he gets delegated to a high school where he had to substitute as a teacher, well, basically he was also investigating something with regards to changes in education and the syllabus, and what's obsolete and what should be rendered obsolete and this and that. So a part of all of that, and he had a personal agenda too, because he had obviously, being a protagonist, past trauma and all. I think those who watch J dramas know which one I'm talking about. It was one of the most recent, latest dramas, and best part is he finally gave me the words I needed. The words that I needed, and that was personal is political. And I was like, yes, that is it. That is it. I mean, seriously, that is exactly it. Personal is political. And that is basically what Imran Khan made people in Pakistan aware of the fact. We say he made them politically aware and he made them politically conscious. And I would say he made them aware of the fact that personal is political. That is exactly what he made them aware of. That whatever is happening in our personal lives is directly linked to whatever is going on in our politics. And that the fact that we've been thinking that it's not linked is the biggest mistake we've been making. And in other words, it's a deliberate mistake, in my opinion, because we all know that personal is political. I mean, come on, the economy, the distress, the depression, the social welfare problems, the infrastructural problems, the fact that they keep on digging roads that are already made just so they should remake them in a very and in a worse condition than they were already. They were actually in perfect condition, but now they're breaking them up. We know, but the fact is, we just think it's okay to sit and curse them, abuse them, swear at them, and grumble about it, and then we're done. Oh, why? Because there's not much we can do. Why not? Why can't we do it? Oh, because every single organization that we put in place to do it for us they're not doing their jobs. Yeah. Why do you think? Because we have not been making sure that they do their jobs, you see. Fine, you might argue that Bangladesh took 16 years to topple the woman, and but 16 years. And here we have 70 years. In those 70 years, Bangladesh got created in between, again, because of the same reason, our nonchalance, our lazy ass attitude, our Nawabi attitude, where we think, oh, somebody should come and think for us, somebody should come and eat for us, somebody should come and drink for us, somebody should come and write for us, somebody should come and take the exam for us, somebody should come and put on our clothes for us, somebody should come and build everything for us, somebody should, I mean, seriously. Why not have somebody go and die for you and go into your grave for you? Do you think that's possible? No, it's not. Similarly, it's not possible for people to come and think for you. You need to remove your fake Nawabi brains out, because I'm telling you, most of you so-called Nawabs, or whoever's Nanabu and Dadabu or Nawabs, you need to put a lid on it, because I'm sure they weren't Nawab. Because as I said, India में इतनी रियासतें नहीं हैं जितने नवाब खाली कराची में ही पाए जाते हैं, you know. So yeah, don't give me that shit. Seriously. Let's talk reality here. Reality is that the real Nawabs gave up all their assets for Pakistan. That's the reality. Those Nawabs gave up their lives even while refuting American domination. Yeah. Remember Liaquat Ali Khan? Killed by America. Every single leader of yours that has tried to stand up to America and that has tried to say that, no, you know what, you know, forget your plans, forget your missions, forget your 100-year projects. The fact is, Pakistan is not just a buffer state. It is going to be a sovereign state. And we're going to make sure that it's a sovereign state. As soon as they say that, they get killed or they get ousted, they get toppled. Most of them get killed. And I think it's a sheer miracle that Imran Khan got got to stay alive. Let's put it this way, okay? It's a sheer miracle. But how do we know how long this miracle is going to last? Because you're all silent. You're all silent. You're like your minions, the minions of the illegal government. They're going around yapping their mouth off on social media. They are harassing overseas Pakistanis. They are harassing their families here in Pakistan. And then at the same time, they want the overseas Pakistanis to donate to them, to finance them, to bring money back into Pakistan. They want them to work with them. Like, seriously? Like, do you think everybody's as beghairat as you are? Seriously? Again, why do they think that? Why? Because they've had 70 years of that Begharti staring right at them. 70 years where they have gone one step further each time, and we were still quiet. Like, you literally let them break all the boundaries, cross all the limits, simply because you kept quiet. At each step they took further, you were still quiet. And now, again, only a few people are actually managing to stay on the path where they can keep on speaking out and standing up for what's right. And their family members are being kidnapped here, and as if that isn't enough, then they go and again they're using their foreign office to work connections with other governments in the countries in which the diaspora are, like the American Pakistani diaspora, or Canadian, or Australian, or European. Well, I mean, they haven't been very successful in Australia, it seems, or even in Canada. But in America and in Europe, they are working. They are working their connections, and they're trying to use the local governments, to help them to control and restrain those journalists, those actual real journalists and analysts, those actual real analysts, who are sitting there and doing their job, which is telling the truth about what's going on, informing people of what's going on, speaking up and speaking out and standing up for what's right, you know. Recently even they just did that once again. I mean, as if it wasn't enough, but now recently, there's like literally there's no proof. There's like, as soon as somebody even asks one of these minions, these touts, these fake journalists here sitting in Pakistan, who are mouthing off on the internet with false news, with fake narratives, as soon as those real journalists or analysts, or even just a normal overseas Pakistani, as soon as they ask them to explain themselves, as soon as they challenge them, as soon as they ask them hard questions, or as soon as they correct them and say, no, you're wrong, the first thing now these people are doing is that they literally go and they try to put a written complaint against the local authorities of where the people are living or where the people are residing. And they are trying to use the local authorities to threaten or to control or to restrict them. It doesn't work that way. You may try and lodge a complaint to the Irani government that, oh, we've got Pakistanis here in Iran and they are, anti-state elements, and, they are this and they are that, and you need to control them and this and that. Why would the Irani government even take you seriously? I think you've forgotten that you are the same government, the same people that just went and targeted people in Iran, claiming that you were targeting terrorists on Irani soil. Do you actually think the Irani government is going to look favorably onto you? In fact, no, they're going to look favorably onto the person that you were targeting. It's a fact. Similarly, if you go to America and say that, oh, the diaspora here in America are anti-state elements and they're this and they're that, and the American government is going to say, listen, they're American citizens and you have no right to touch them. Similarly, you go to England and you say, "Oh, we need to file a case against this person because this person said this." The British government is going to say, "Whatever it is that you claim to be doing it's not against our law because according to our law, everybody has the right to freedom of speech. So whatever they're saying falls within the law, in fact, and it doesn't go against our law. So we don't even know what you're talking about." Yeah, and this is exactly the response they are getting. But they are going around again creating another false narrative on social media saying that, oh, you know what, we have been successful at whatever we're doing, and because we have gone after so and so person, the local governments have clamped them down for us, and so person has been restricted. And no, these are all lies. No government is ever going to go against its own national interests for Pakistan, especially not European and American governments who already have a very pretty strong agenda here that they do not want derailed. So, I mean, I'm just looking at the way people are lying. As I say, this is again something I've said a very long time ago, that Pakistanis cannot live without lying. Lying is as breathing. It's as breathing. Seriously, they cannot breathe. If they do not lie, they just cannot breathe. So lying is as breathing to the people of Pakistan. They actually have to think. They literally have to think before they tell the truth. But lies, they just come out. They just come out. And you can see that in your chief of, your army chief. You can see that in Maryam Nawaz. You can see that in Nawaz Sharif. You can see that in Zardari, in Bilawal. But you can see it in all of them. You can see it in their so-called journalists, who are just spewing rubbish, and the fact that they do not even care. That's another thing. Yeah, you know what? These are true Desis. They do not care that they have been caught in a lie. They do not care that they're on the record. They do not care that their lies are on the record and the truth before that is on the record, and they are contradicting themselves on the record. They do not care. And I've seen that. I've seen that. As I said, there's this thing in Pakistan where a friend of mine gave me that expression because a long time ago, a few years ago, when because we're basically born and bred abroad, and we've had the misfortune to be shifted here by our parents. And, the biggest problem that we've all had was exactly this, that whenever people lie, everybody, applauds them. But when somebody's telling the truth, people make a liar out of them in Pakistan. And he gave me the expression for it, dhada kutna. And he said that, yeah, this is what our people do, dhada kutna. So when basically dhada kutna is when somebody is telling the truth, everybody get together and make a liar out of him. And somebody's telling a lie, and everybody's going to say, oh yeah, he's right. And that is again what we've been doing. We've been doing it with every single a-hole that has come our way. And this is why, again, I would say Pakistanis are 100% responsible for whatever is happening today. 100% responsible, no excuses, no justifications, nothing. Pakistanis are 100% responsible for whatever is happening today, and they will be responsible for whatever happens next. And this is where I'll stop. This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.